Chosen one, this encounter is not coincidence. Your presence here was arranged long before this moment arrived. Nothing about this is accidental. Heaven aligned your path, slowed your movement, and caused your attention to land right here, right now, because this exact second carries purpose. This is not random timing. This is a divine meeting. Something greater than habit paused you. Something unseen interrupted your routine. The Spirit of God placed this message directly in front of you because you are standing at the threshold of a supernatural turn. The moment has arrived. The clock of heaven has struck the hour that was written long ago. The word declares that the vision is appointed for a specific time. Even if it feels delayed, it will arrive exactly when it should. It will not miss its moment. And that moment is no longer distant. It is no longer one day. It is unfolding now, today, tonight, in the hours just ahead. This is your Kairos moment, the intersection of destiny and divine timing. You've sensed it already, that quiet pull, that inner awareness, that deep knowing that something is about to shift. Heaven has already spoken. Victory is already echoing over your life. What was meant to silence you became the very ground where your blessing took root. What was designed to crush you has turned into fertile soil. Prepare your heart, because heaven is rejoicing, not in mockery, but in triumph. And that joy is the signal that your breakthrough is already in motion. Chosen one, receive this deeply. What you did today may have seemed insignificant, ordinary, easy to overlook. But in heaven, it thundered. It carried eternal weight. It rose before God Himself. And when it did, He laughed. Not a laugh of dismissal, but the victorious joy of a father who already knows how the story ends. That sound declared that every scheme against you has collapsed and your future remains untouched. You tend to be harder on yourself than heaven ever is. You measure your journey against others and tell yourself you're behind. You revisit old failures and convince yourself your steps are too small to matter. But heaven doesn't count the way earth does. Where you see weakness, God sees bravery. Where you see a seed barely planted, He already sees a forest. Where you hear a trembling prayer, He hears faith strong enough to move realms. I know these hidden seasons. I've lived them. I've prayed prayers that felt fragile. I've forgiven without apology. I've chosen hope when despair felt easier. And God showed me this truth again and again. The smallest yes carries eternal power. One quiet act of obedience can ripple through generations. That is why heaven rejoiced over you today. Do not minimize this moment. You didn't just make it through another day. You disrupted the plans of darkness. You stood when collapse seemed inevitable. You spoke when silence was expected. You moved when fear demanded stillness. That obedience, shaky as it felt, brought joy to heaven. Think of a child taking their first steps, unsteady, wobbling, ready to fall. The parent doesn't criticize, they celebrate, because movement has begun. That is how God saw you today. The attack against you was not random. It was calculated to suffocate prayer, erase hope, and convince you that God had turned away. Yet here you are, breathing, seeking, listening. That alone is victory. Every breath you take declares, "The plan against me failed." Every morning you rise, even with trembling faith, heaven rejoices again, because the enemy lost again. Your survival is not meaningless. It is evidence that God's hand still holds you. And if the enemy couldn't remove you yesterday, imagine what he knows is coming next. Never dismiss small obedience. Heaven's system is different from the world's. The world celebrates applause and visibility. Heaven celebrates what no one sees: the whispered prayer, the forgiveness kept private, the sacrifice that cost you deeply without recognition. Every unseen act shakes darkness. I've seen it in my own life. The moments I thought were wasted became turning points. The hidden yes, the quiet step, the obedience no one clapped for. Those were the seeds of breakthrough. And today, you planted seeds the enemy cannot destroy. Seeds of faith, endurance, and legacy. Heaven has already responded. God has already laughed. And that laughter means momentum has shifted. What seemed ordinary on earth shook eternity. What felt like a whisper became a shout in heaven. Hold on to this truth. The strategy formed against you has unraveled. Heaven's laughter is not passive. It is power. It is a decree. This battle is already decided. The tide is turning. Favor is moving toward you. The enemy studied you, built traps around your exhaustion, counted on your hesitation. But today, you broke the cycle. You gave when you felt empty. You stood when you were expected to fall. You spoke when silence felt safer. That single act triggered a chain reaction beyond what you can see. It was like a game where the enemy was confident of victory, until your unexpected move changed everything. God laughed because He saw what the enemy never anticipated. Heaven doesn't wait for grand gestures. Heaven responds to sincerity, to truth, to faith. One hidden yes carries more authority than 1,000 loud words. One unseen act of integrity outweighs endless performance. Stop minimizing yourself. Stop believing obedience only matters when it's noticed. Stop comparing your journey to highlight reels that hide pain. Heaven isn't impressed by noise. It treasures depth. And today, you proved that depth lives in you. If you feel unseen, hear this. Survival is not small. Survival is testimony. Every breath says, I'm still here. Every step declares, the plan against me failed. Every choice to continue causes heaven to lean in with joy. What tried to destroy you did not succeed. That alone makes your life a living victory. But this season is no longer just about surviving. It's about acceleration. When heaven laughs, it's a signal. The ground beneath you is preparing to release the harvest you prayed for. And it all began with your yes today. God's laughter is holy triumph. It is declaration. It shakes unseen realms. Chains are cracking. Doors are loosening. Timelines are bending. His joy over you is proof that your story has entered a new chapter. Do not call endurance weakness. Survival is strength. Every sunrise announces to the unseen, I outlived what was meant to bury me. Heaven celebrates the first step, not just the finish line. That trembling yes you gave today was enough to move eternity. And if this message spoke to your spirit, don't walk alone. Subscribe now and help us reach 5,000, because what God is doing here is only beginning. That delicate act of obedience carried far more power than it appeared. God smiled, not because it was small, but because He already knows how far this single step will carry you. The world celebrates what is loud, visible, and measurable. Heaven, however, honors what is done in secret. A prayer breathed in the dark can dismantle generational chains. Forgiveness given with no audience can unlock futures you'll never witness. A sacrifice made without applause can release supernatural increase. Never dismiss what is hidden, because heaven amplifies what earth ignores. Anointed one, imagine water disturbed by a single stone. The splash is brief, almost unimpressive, but the ripples stretch farther than the eye can trace. That is what your obedience was today. It didn't look dramatic. It didn't draw attention. Yet heaven saw waves moving through eternity. Angels were mobilized. Seeds beneath the surface began to stir. Gates once sealed started to loosen. What seemed unseen has already shifted the invisible. The laughter of God is the signal that the contest is decided. The enemy believed he understood you. He counted on your weariness. He expected hesitation. He assumed silence would return. But today it didn't. You broke the rhythm he relied on. You stood where you were meant to collapse. You gave when you felt emptied. You trusted while fear shouted. That one decision overturned the entire strategy. The enemy was confident. He thought the outcome was secure. But your unexpected choice rewrote the ending. God laughed because he saw what the enemy never accounted for. Chosen one, this revelation changes how you move. When heaven laughs over your life, shame loses its grip. You stop shrinking. You stop asking permission to exist. Comparison fades. Your steps become steady, not loud, not boastful, but quietly assured. God's laughter is confirmation. It says you are not delayed. You are not forgotten. You are aligned. Divine laughter always precedes acceleration. Yesterday was endurance. Today is expansion. The ground beneath you is adjusting. What you sowed through tears is returning with joy. What appeared buried is breaking the surface. God does not laugh without cause. His laughter announces that breakthrough is no longer approaching. It has begun. Think of the nights you endured in silence, the years marked by questions, the seasons where nothing seemed to shift. None of it was wasted. Every moment became seed. Those seeds didn't die. They were hidden. And now heaven's laughter is the rain. It is God declaring, "This is the appointed time." Chosen one, understand this deeply. Your obedience carries legacy weight. What you did today reaches beyond you. Bloodlines will feel it. Doors will open for people you will never meet. Families will walk freer because you said yes in secret. Communities will be blessed because you endured. Heaven rejoices because God sees the future your obedience has secured. Anointed one, guard this truth. You are not merely surviving, you are carrying purpose. Heaven's laughter is heaven's assurance that your life matters beyond the present moment. That is why doubt must be silenced. That is why you cannot belittle your progress. God's laughter confirms that your journey is advancing. Lift your head. Heaven's joy surrounds you like armor. Carry it within. Let it overpower fear. Let it quiet every lie of insufficiency. Let it remind you with every step forward. The King has already spoken joy over your life, and his joy seals victory. Chosen one, understand this. The laughter of heaven is not the conclusion. It is ignition. It activates what has been waiting. It releases what was restrained. It shifts the spiritual atmosphere in your favor. The ground beneath you is preparing for increase. What was delayed is unlocking. What was sealed is opening. That laughter has already gone ahead of you, straightening paths you haven't reached yet. Anointed one, this is why the waiting season was never punishment. What you called delay was preparation. What felt like silence was alignment. God was strengthening you away from attention. He was planting endurance that could only grow through pressure. And now, heaven's laughter is awakening everything that was planted. What you thought was lost time has become foundation. I understand the ache of waiting. I know what it's like to pray for years and see no movement. I know the sting of watching others celebrate while you remain unseen. Yet every time despair whispered, God responded with timing. Looking back, I see protection. I see preparation. I see roots growing deep enough to hold the weight of what was coming. Chosen one, the same truth rests over you. What felt wasted was sacred work. Heaven's laughter means the building phase is ending. Manifestation is near. Limits are breaking. Ceilings are lifting. Doors once closed are unlocking. Do not miss this moment. Your hidden obedience has generated visible momentum. Your tear-soaked prayers have become fragrance before the throne. Your silent sacrifices are speaking louder than words. Heaven laughs because God sees how every moment has woven together into destiny. Think of the faithful servant hidden from recognition, forgotten by people, but never overlooked by God. Every unseen day was preparation for elevation, and when the time arrived, everything changed at once. That is what heaven's laughter signals for you. Hidden faithfulness meeting public favor. You may still feel unnoticed. You may still wonder if anyone sees the weight you carry. But heaven has recorded every detail. No tear was ignored. No act of faith forgotten. The laughter of God declares, harvest time has arrived. Walk with confidence, not arrogance, but assurance. When you know God has laughed over your life, you no longer shrink to fit spaces you've outgrown. You stop apologizing for the anointing on you. You trade unstable approval for divine affirmation. Anointed one, hear this clearly. The laughter of God is a weapon. It dismantles darkness. It disrupts strategies. It confuses the enemy. He thought he knew you. He thought he had your patterns memorized. But heaven laughed because you chose faith where fear expected control. I've seen this firsthand. Moments I thought were loss were actually celebration in heaven. Seasons I thought were stagnation were already turning. And that is what is being spoken over you now. What looks unfinished to you is already settled in God's sight. Let God's laughter awaken your hope again. Let it restore your expectation. Do not let disappointment limit your vision. If heaven has laughed, the outcome is settled. The only question left is timing. And heaven says soon. Step forward boldly. Heaven isn't waiting for perfection. Heaven responds to faith. Do not dismiss small beginnings. Do not belittle trembling obedience. Every seed carries harvest. Lift your eyes. The season has shifted. Heaven is rejoicing over you. What was meant to bury you is becoming the ground of blessing. Hold on to this truth. Anchor yourself in it. Silence doubt with it. Because if heaven has already laughed, your victory cannot be stopped. Here is a fully rewritten, original version with the same meaning, spiritual depth, and emotional authority, but with fresh language, new rhythm, and a natural YouTube flow. Nothing is copied, only the essence is preserved. When I look back now, I understand something I couldn't see then. Delay was never rejection. Silence was never abandonment. Being hidden was never punishment. It was safety. It was preparation. It was God stretching my capacity so I could carry blessings far beyond what I once imagined. When His timing finally arrived, His laughter made everything clear. It proved that every season of waiting had meaning. Chosen one, your hidden years were sacred classrooms. Every quiet prayer planted a seed. Every tear softened the ground. Every obedient step no one noticed enriched the soil. Heaven's laughter is the evidence that the ground has finally opened. The harvest is rising. What you believed was lost is alive. What you thought was unseen is stepping into the light. Heaven rejoices because the release has begun and the promise is unfolding. Anointed one, remember Sarah. She laughed when she heard God's promise because it sounded impossible. But God was never threatened by her doubt. He was anchored in His word. And just as she eventually held the promise in her arms, you will hold what God has spoken over your life. Heaven laughs because impossibility has already bowed to divine certainty. Chosen one, begin living as if the promise is already active. Pray like the answer is present. Speak as though provision is in your hands. Walk as if the doors are already open. God's laughter is not suggestion. It is confirmation. It announces to creation that the matter is settled, that your future is secure, and that your destiny cannot be stopped. I have walked through seasons that felt like endings. I grieved dreams I thought were gone forever. I watched opportunities disappear and assumed they would never return. Doors closed, and I believed they were final. Then, suddenly, God moved. Provision came from places I never expected. Relationships aligned I could not have planned. Paths opened where none existed. That's when I realized heaven had been laughing the entire time. Victory had already been declared long before my eyes could see it. Anointed one, let heaven's laughter strengthen you. You may feel unqualified, but heaven has already equipped you. You may feel unnoticed, but heaven has already celebrated you. You may feel weak, but God has wrapped you in His strength. Stop diminishing your growth. Stop belittling your obedience. Heaven's laughter is the reminder that you are chosen, affirmed, and anointed. Never forget this. Heaven does not laugh over wasted lives. If God is laughing, it means your wounds will testify of healing. Your tears will become rivers of renewal. Your pain will be reshaped into power. His laughter is heaven's decree that your purpose cannot be erased. What was meant to bury you has become the ground of blessing. Anointed one, your breakthrough is not only about you. Your obedience is opening doors for others. Your endurance is becoming hope for the weary. Your faith is igniting courage in those ready to quit. Heaven laughs because God sees the ripple effect of your yes. Generations touched because you refused to stop standing. So rise with holy confidence. This is not pride. It is agreement with heaven. You are not crawling toward victory. You are moving forward from a victory already secured. Heaven's laughter dismantles lies, breaks curses, and destroys hidden schemes. God's joy is louder than fear. His decree outweighs doubt. His laughter is the final word. Lift your head. The King has laughed over your life. Carry that sound in your spirit. Let it silence fear. Let it drown insecurity. Let it remind you daily that when heaven laughs, the outcome is already written. The story is sealed. The ending is secure. The victory is undeniable. Chosen one, heaven's laughter does not fade. It echoes. It carries forward. It reverberates across eternity. It is not momentary celebration. It is ongoing declaration. When God laughs, momentum is released. His delight becomes the wind at your back. That sound moves through creation, breaking old patterns, shaking structures, and laying new foundations in your life. Anointed one, never underestimate a single act of faith. You may think it was small. You may believe it barely mattered. But heaven weighs differently. Your yes has authority. Your prayer has force. Your obedience carries eternal impact. God laughs because He sees what the enemy cannot. That one step has triggered a chain reaction, and darkness is unraveling piece by piece. I know this personally. There were times I thought my prayers disappeared into silence. I wondered if heaven even noticed. Later I realized those whispers thundered in the spirit. Small obediences created ripples far beyond my awareness. Chains broke. Provision came. Lives shifted. And I could sense heaven rejoicing over faith that looked fragile on earth. Chosen one, you may not always feel strong. You may not always see proof. But heaven is not measuring feelings. It is measuring faith. One seed planted in weakness can grow into a forest of transformation. One trembling yes can dismantle decades of bondage. God laughs not because your step was perfect, but because it was faithful. Remember this: the enemy studies patterns. He predicts reactions. He builds traps expecting repetition. But today, you broke the pattern. You forgave when bitterness felt easier. You prayed when silence seemed safer. You stood when collapse felt inevitable. That unexpected choice overturned the plan. Heaven laughed because the trap failed. Breaking cycles carries prophetic weight. Heaven celebrates the moment you refuse to repeat what once held you. Each time you choose trust over fear, heaven rejoices. Each time you keep moving forward, shaking but still moving, heaven laughs. God's joy becomes the soundtrack of your resilience. This is your moment. Heaven's laughter is not just joy for today, it is prophecy for tomorrow. It declares acceleration. It announces open doors. It signals momentum. You are not just surviving anymore. You are advancing. You are not only enduring, you are entering overflow. Do not despise small beginnings. Do not mock trembling obedience. Do not compare your journey to louder voices or brighter stages. Heaven is not impressed by noise. Heaven responds to depth. One hidden act of integrity outweighs 100 performances. One quiet prayer shakes more than 1,000 speeches. Think of a parent watching a child take their first step. Not perfect, not steady, but celebrated. That is how heaven sees you, not frustrated by imperfection, but delighted by courage. God's laughter is his celebration of your willingness to keep moving. Let heaven's sound overpower every lie. Let God's joy silence accusation. Let his decree cancel every prediction of defeat. If heaven has already celebrated, then victory is not uncertain, it is destiny. Carry this truth into every day. Heaven is not waiting for the finish line to rejoice. Heaven celebrates now. The moment you choose faith, you release heaven's sound into your atmosphere. And that sound will carry you, cover you, and confirm you until the promise stands before you. Walk forward with holy boldness. You are not stepping alone. You are moving in rhythm with heaven's laughter. You are not striving for approval. You are moving from approval already given. You are not hoping for victory. You are walking in one already sealed. Chosen one. What tried to destroy you did not succeed. That alone makes your life a living victory. Here is a completely rephrased original version that preserves the power, prophetic tone, emotion, and meaning, while changing the language, flow, and structure so it feels fresh and unmistakably new. You may not fully recognize it yet, but every scar you carry is evidence that you endured. And every act of endurance is a prophetic signal of what is coming next. Heaven is now announcing a shift over your life. This season is no longer about barely making it through. It is about forward motion. It is about divine acceleration. When God laughs, it is never casual. His laughter is never empty. It is a signal in the spirit. It declares that the tide has turned. It announces that the appointed moment has arrived. It means the ground beneath you is now ready to produce fruit from every seed you planted through pain, faith, and perseverance. Anointed one, this is why you've felt an increase of tension within. This is why your spirit has felt stirred, restless, alert. Something larger is approaching your life. Heaven's laughter is never silent. It disrupts atmospheres, bends timelines, and pulls breakthroughs out of the unseen and into reality. And it began the moment you chose yes when giving up would have been easier. Think of it like this. A small stone hits the surface of water. At first, there's only a splash. But moments later, Waves expand outward far beyond what the eye can track. Every step of obedience you've taken has been like that stone, released into eternity. Even today, the step you thought went unnoticed sent ripples into heaven itself. Angels were activated, chains loosened, doors began responding. Seeds buried long ago started waking up. Chosen one, you may not see the full picture yet, but you will. Heaven does nothing without purpose. God does not celebrate without cause. That laughter carried authority. That laughter carried promise. That laughter announced that the battle is already shifting in your favor. Hold on to this truth. If God is laughing, you can release doubt. Doubt about timing. Doubt about your strength. Doubt about whether you are enough. When heaven has already celebrated your step, the outcome is no longer a question of if, only when. Anointed one, heaven celebrates differently than the world. The world applauds the finish line. Heaven rejoices at the first step. God honors movement, not perfection. He sanctifies the process, not just the result. When you understand this, you stop living under the weight of not there yet and start walking in the assurance of already chosen. That shift changes everything. You stop chasing approval that fluctuates. You stop measuring yourself by comparison. You begin to move in confidence rooted in God's unshakable affirmation. And when you carry that kind of assurance, intimidation loses its power. Delay no longer unsettles you. Rejection no longer defines you. The King has already laughed, and his laughter seals the outcome. Chosen one, hear this clearly. God noticed you today. He saw the hidden effort. He saw the trembling obedience. He saw the fragile yes, and he rejoiced. That laughter means your story is not stalled. It means your obedience carries far more power than you realize. It means the ending has already been rewritten in your favor. Carry that sound within you. The Creator leaned back in triumph, delighting over your life. Let that joy drown out every lie telling you that you are behind. If the King is laughing, the conclusion is secure. And that conclusion is victory. Understand this deeply. Heaven's laughter is not shallow joy. It is authority. It is prophecy. It is a spiritual decree. God does not laugh at random. His laughter seals shifts you cannot yet see. What looked ordinary to you carried eternal weight. What you thought was just survival has become proof that you are unstoppable in Him. Anointed one, this laughter is not only about what God is doing for you, it is about what He will do through you. Heaven rejoices because your testimony will guide others. Your scars will heal those still bleeding. Your perseverance will awaken hope in people who feel ready to quit. Your yes is far larger than your personal story. That is why the enemy worked so hard to silence you. He knew your breakthrough would unlock freedom for others. He tried to bury you in shame, to convince you that your voice held no value and your prayers carried no force. But heaven laughed, because God already saw the ripple of influence flowing from your persistence. Every prayer you prayed carried thunder. Every moment you endured shook darkness. I know this personally. There were seasons when survival felt like all I had left. I told myself, if I can just make it through, maybe that's enough. Later I learned that others were watching quietly. My endurance gave them courage. My scars gave them permission to keep going. My yes became their breakthrough. Chosen one, your life is a living message. Your scars speak louder than polished words. Your endurance is a testimony written into eternity. What once looked like defeat has become wisdom. What felt like failure has become a weapon. The valley you survived is now a map guiding others into freedom. Heaven's laughter also announces restoration. What was stolen will be returned with increase. What was withheld will be released in fullness. Provision is shifting. Opportunities are aligning. Influence is being entrusted to those who stayed faithful when no one applauded. This is not coincidence. It is covenant. Heaven's laughter signals divine realignment. When doors open, walk through with confidence. These are not accidents. They are assignments. The path was prepared before you even recognized it. Barriers cannot stop you. Walls cannot remain. Heaven has already cleared the way. The keys are already in your hands. You may still ask, why me? Am I truly chosen? And heaven answers, it was never about deserving. It was about surrender. God does not laugh because you earned this. He laughs because you agreed to carry it. Your obedience has already broken generational cycles and released freedom that will echo beyond your lifetime. Remember this: God's laughter is warfare. It dismantles darkness. It mocks the futility of hell's attempts. It declares that the battle is already finished. What was meant to bury you has become your foundation. What was meant to silence you has amplified your voice. What was meant to break you has made you immovable. So rest in this truth. If God is laughing, you can trust. His laughter is covenantal. It means He has already seen the ending, and the ending is victory. It is louder than fear, stronger than doubt, and greater than every whisper of insecurity. Rise, Anointed One. This season is not about surviving. It is about overflowing. Not hiding, but unveiling. Not delay, but manifestation. Heaven laughs because what you carry can no longer remain unseen. Carry heaven's laughter as your anthem. Let it crush comparison. Let it silence fear. Let it steady your soul when doubt tries to return. Step forward, knowing heaven has already celebrated you. The decree is spoken. The outcome is settled. The King's laughter is your covering, your confidence, and your crown. And hear this with your whole heart. Heaven's laughter is not fading. It is alive right now. It surrounds you like a shield. When God laughs, angels move. Chains break. Doors open. Atmospheres shift. Acceleration begins. Your survival was never small. It was prophecy in motion. Every breath you take declares that the plan against you failed. And now, momentum has begun. Each act shook the unseen. Each choice provoked heaven's joy. Heaven laughs because the one they thought would fall is still standing in victory. Anointed One, His laughter does not only celebrate survival, it points to multiplication. You are not just recovering fragments, you are stepping into overflow. What was barren will bloom again. What was broken will be rebuilt stronger. What was delayed will come suddenly. Heaven laughs because your portion is not emptiness, but abundance. Your inheritance is not scarcity, but overflow, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. His laughter is proof that you will not finish in lack, but in plenty. Chosen One, release yesterday's shame. Stop rehearsing failures. Stop replaying mistakes. Heaven's laughter is louder than regret. It silences guilt. It erases condemnation. You are not chained to the past. You are not defined by wounds. You are not limited by weakness. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are redeemed and appointed. Heaven laughs because your name is written in the eternal book of destiny, and no hand can erase it. I too have battled unworthiness. I have whispered in secret, "Why me? Am I enough?" But the Lord answered, "It is not about perfection. It is about surrender." Heaven does not laugh because you achieved flawlessly. Heaven laughs because you yielded. That single yes carried eternal weight. That obedience shifted timelines. That faith planted seeds that will grow long after you are gone. Your surrender has altered storylines you cannot yet see. This is why his laughter is unending, because it is rooted in covenant, not performance. Anointed One, never forget. His laughter is also warfare. It dismantles strongholds. It ridicules the enemy's strategies. It declares to every opposing power, this battle is already finished. Heaven laughs because the weapons aimed at you failed. Heaven laughs because curses turned into blessings. Heaven laughs because pits dug for you became wells of provision. What was meant to destroy you has only revealed your resilience. Chosen One, let that sound saturate your spirit. Let it become your anthem. Carry it into the night when fear rises. Carry it into the morning when doubt whispers. If God is laughing, you can trust. If God is laughing, you can rest. If God is laughing, you can walk boldly, knowing the end is already secure. His joy is your shield. His laughter is your confidence. His delight is your crown. So rise now, Anointed One. Pray as though the answer is already in your hands. Speak as though the door is already open. Move as though the crown already rests on your head. You are not chasing victory. You are advancing from it. You are not begging for approval. You are living from approval already given. The King's laughter surrounds you. It carries you. It covers you. It confirms you. Lift your head high. The delays are broken. The testimony is alive. The story is unfolding. Heaven laughs because your ending is already triumph. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are destined to win. And as this word comes to a close, feel the weight of heaven's laughter still resting over you. The King has smiled. The throne has shaken. And your name has been spoken in joy. That laughter was not empty. It was the signal that your Kairos moment has begun. What you prayed in silence has already stirred the heavens. What you whispered in weakness has already been written as victory. This is not the end of your story. It is the turning of the page. The supernatural transfer is already in motion. Doors are aligning. Blessings are converging. Breakthroughs are accelerating toward you. The soil that once felt like burial ground is now the place of your blooming. The tears you sowed in secret are rising as harvest in abundance. So walk forward with holy confidence. Stand tall in gratitude. The author of your destiny is laughing over you with joy. His delight is your strength. His laughter is your shield. His promise is your inheritance. Stay faithful. Stay aligned. Keep saying yes, even when the step feels small. Every act of obedience is echoing in eternity.